give ourselves than also what we put onto other people as expectations.
Welcome home, Misfits.
Dan nggak cuma kamu harus kayak ngerjain kerjaan rumah, harus bimbing anak, tapi kayak this pressure kamu harus look good while doing it. Like, oh my God, how exhausting gitu kan. Dan I'm interested kayak ngebahas lebih dalam about this concept of beauty with you, karena you two are like sedang ngerjain this whole skincare brand and also being a woman in itself, bahwa konsep beauty ini mau nggak mau itu pasti kayak digabungin ke kamu sebagai seorang perempuan gitu kan. How do you yourself kayak understand the meaning of beauty, whatever that means to, kayak apa arti beauty itu buat kamu, dan apakah itu sempat ngalami perubahan from your years of growing up dulu mungkin?
Yes, definition of beauty dari kecil itu aku bilang itu harus kurus. You can't be fat, because like I have a round face, and I was when I pictures when you're on camera, it's like, oh my God, my face is so round, and then I constantly like judge myself. I have to be, weight was a big thing. I really wanted to be skinny, and I would work out, eat less, like really watch what I eat and everything. Tapi the more I grew up, the more comfortable I became with who I am, how I look, and then I stopped worrying about my weight, and I really focused on my health. Aku sempat, I think maybe like 6 or 7 years ago, I found out I had like cyst in my ovaries. And dari sana aku benar-benar like, wow, pentingnya kesehatan kita. We only have one shot at this life, and we only have one body. Kita nggak ada spare part. So aku pikir, okay, aku harus benar-benar fokus untuk sehat. Itu berarti olahraga, makan dengan baik, and then also dari sana pelan-pelan aku belajar pentingnya itu self-care. Jadi untuk juga mental health dan juga physical health itu jadi satu. Dan dari sana aku juga melihat kalau beauty itu tidak apa yang it's not only what we see outside, but it's also what we feel and what we see inside. And aku pikir society itu punya this one vision of beauty, thin, in different cultures, obviously it'll be different. Indonesia mungkin harus rambut hitam, kulit putih. There's this really like stereotype. And kita bisa lihat di billboard, di pharmacy, kalau kita ke sana, it's like constant image. Tapi yang aku belajar itu adalah beauty is actually in the eye of the beholder. So everybody's perception of beauty is different, even though there is like a general one that's given to us by society. But for me, beauty really comes from your own self. So I think if you take care of yourself well, you present yourself well, you have a good mental space, you are beautiful. I think it's from inside to outside. And I think if you feel okay inside and you feel whole inside, you will be beautiful. It doesn't matter.
Dan apa ada perbedaan antara ngerasain beauty yang awalnya from an external point of view dan this kayak need buat jadi kurus, harus ngelihat seperti ini tuh, then shifted ke beauty yang more of a health base, more of an internal outward kind of thing. Kayak apa bedanya yang dirasain dari dalam dirinya Ria dengan itu?
So jujur, like kalau aku like judge myself, aduh aku perlu kurus, aku perlu look a certain way, aku perlu pakai make up a certain way, itu berat. Aku merasa berat, dan banyak itu beratnya di pikiran, it's like mental. Jadi di kepala aku, or in my mind, itu nggak ada space for anything else. Like mental space itu diambil dengan, aku bilang sih, negative chatter. Jadi like this voice inside me always talking to me, talking down to me, and my head was full. Like I couldn't, it was so full of this negative self-image, and I think it portrayed, me hating myself, and that was the wrong way to do it. Definitely was heavy.
Dan yang orang kadang kurang pahami bahwa kesannya tuh kayak, hey, it's just the way you look, tapi yang kamu bilang itu aku agree banget bahwa itu tuh makan banget banyak ruang di dalam dirimu, banyak headspace yang kayak kamu bilang tadi, yang sebenarnya itu bisa kamu gunain untuk hal-hal yang jauh lebih positif, yang jauh lebih berguna di kehidupanmu sekitar gitu kan ya. Betul. Kalau Ria sendiri, kamu bisa identify nggak kayak awal-awal itu mungkin sumber dari beberapa pikiran-pikiran negatif itu, apakah itu from the media, is it from people around you yang kayak feed you that kind of thoughts? Karena kadang kita nggak sadar bahwa pikiran yang ada di dalam kita tuh bukan datang dari prinsip kita sendiri atau nilai kita sendiri, tapi influence dari sekitar yang sebenarnya tuh nggak mencerminkan siapa diri kita gitu. Pernah mikir nggak tentang itu?
Yes, pernah. So I think itu dari kecil kan, karena the way I look really define people, how they treat me.
Ya.
So itu mulai semua dari sana. Terus mencari acceptance dari orang-orang, dan acceptance itu kita merasa, oh if I look, kalau kelihatan seperti ini, people will love me more. Dan juga society's value of happiness. Like, oh if you have white teeth, you're gonna be happy. Or you know, if you are thin, you're gonna be happy. Or you know, if you use this makeup, you're gonna look beautiful. People are gonna love you, and you're gonna be happy. So, yeah, it's a lot to do with our surroundings dan society, dan juga bagaimana orang melihat kita. I think
dan aku rasa kayak banyak banget yang akan relate dengan itu, dan me too gitu, karena kadang-kadang kita mikir yang kita cari itu cantiknya, kurusnya, tapi sebenarnya yang kita cari itu sih kayak appreciation-nya, the feeling of wanting to be loved, which is kayak such a core need from human gitu kan. Dan gimana kalau kita bisa refleksikan itu lagi bahwa hey, aku bisa ngedapetin semua hal itu tanpa harus menyiksa diriku sendiri. Dan kalaupun misalnya aku ngedapetin love dengan cara itu, apakah itu jenis love yang aku mau? Kayak those are some really interesting kayak reflection yang mungkin bisa kita lakuin gitu sih kalau menurut aku.
Yeah, betul. Yes, for sure.
Ya, dan kalau sekarang dengan aku rasa mungkin ada perubahan ya dengan cara kamu, how you talk to yourself, itu pun sesuatu yang kayak sound so simple tapi efeknya tuh gede banget gitu kan. Gimana mungkin perubahannya, komen-komen negatifmu dulu tentang dirimu sendiri, tentang appearance-mu, perubahannya apa dengan sekarang untuk lebih maybe more kind, loving to yourself maybe? Kayak ada affirmation khusus atau kata-kata khusus yang you say to yourself nggak maybe?
So dari aku sih, aku merasa nggak happy, I didn't feel happy. Aku juga merasa berat. Jadi dari sana aku mulai meditasi. Dan dari sana aku benar-benar I got like the headspace, and I really realized that kebanyakan hal-hal yang aku benci atau hal-hal yang membuatku tidak happy itu berasal dari diriku sendiri. Dan aku tiba-tiba like okay, aku harus mengganti cara aku bicara pada diriku sendiri. Dan aku juga lihat dari segi dari keluarga aku, kayak adikku sama ibuku, they suffer from depression, dan aku lihat betapa beratnya depresi itu. Dan aku juga melihat kalau memang beberapa hal yang membuat mereka sedih atau really depressed itu berasal dari pikiran mereka. I know it's also like a sickness, I know that too, but I also know beberapa hal itu memang ada in their mind. So I was always so afraid that I would end up like that. My life I was so afraid I was going to be depressed, or I was going to end up like that, because I saw how negative it was. And then it just really gave me that I have to really focus and give all my energy into like the way I talk to myself, the way I present myself, the way I understand myself.
Yes.
Because it was a fear of not wanting to be that way, because I saw how much it affected their life. And I was always thought to myself, like, I have one life in this world, like this is my life, and I need to make the best of it, because I don't get a second chance. I don't want to waste my life.
Dan I think itu kayak penting banget bahwa the way you talk about yourself, kayak persepsimu akan dirimu tuh satu hal yang pasti kamu ada control of gitu kan ya. Kadang if depression as an illness, yes, we cannot control there, or the society, kadang kita nggak bisa escape it, at least for now gitu. Tapi how you treat yourself and how you communicate with yourself itu satu hal yang hey, you have control over that gitu kan. Dan it's so powerful buat ngambil power itu balik dan belajar untuk to be kinder and more of a healer to yourself, I feel like.
Yeah, for sure. And I think also learning to heal is a big one, because people think, oh, I'm just going to heal, I'm going to be better. But the truth is you are healing your whole life. You're living with things, your trauma.
Yeah.
Learn to frame it differently, and you need to learn to cope with it differently. For sure.
Dan bahwa healing tuh maybe what people don't realize tuh nggak ada end point ya. There's no such thing as hey, you've healed. That's it gitu kan, bahwa it's life, dan as a human kayak your healing process tuh akan naik turun, kadang harus balik lagi to a starting point yang dulu kamu pernah, but yaitu tadi, I guess the more kamu ngelatih your coping skill, the more kamu ngerti siapa dirimu, it gets easier and kayak kamu ada lebih banyak weapons to cope with life kind of thing.
Yeah,
gitu
it's
kan.
like there was somebody, I watched a documentary and they were talking about loss. They lost their daughter and the father described it really well. He said it's like lifting 100 kilos
Yeah.
for the day, and every day gets easier, but the 100 kilos is still 100 kilos, that doesn't change, it's still heavy.
Yeah.
I think that's a really good example of healing.
Ya, dan also kayak healing and mental process as a strength, as a exercise that you constantly have to do gitu kan. Kadang kita bisa ngelihat kayak latihan musik tuh, oh ya kita harus berlatih, kita segala macam all this physical thing tuh orang nangkep bahwa itu sesuatu yang kamu harus latih. Tapi begitu ngomong tentang mental health, begitu ngomong tentang emotional well-being, mereka nggak sadar bahwa hey, it's also something yang perlu kamu latih dan pelan-pelan it does get easier dan connection in your brain will get stronger di mana kamu nanti it just becomes more natural slowly gitu kan. Tapi the key is that to kayak practice it gitu kan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So true, 100%. And also allowing the space, for you to heal. That's important. And allowing yourself to feel. That's I think really important too.
Yeah.
Because once you feel, you can really identify like where do these feelings come from? How are they a part of me? What triggers me? And then overcoming that. Like, if you learn your weaknesses or your triggers, you can learn to choose how you want to react to it.
Ya. Dan itu benar-benar kayak fondasi awal ya, to know yourself, tahu pemicumu, tahu siapa dirimu, your background dari kamu dulu kecil. Begitu you become kayak the master of yourself, it kayak opens up so many potential for yourself. I feel like, and I'm kayak happy for you that you're at a place yang udah mulai kayak paham itu dan kayak gain that ownership for yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah, and other than that, aku tertarik gimana alam itu berperan dalam your whole healing process and well-beingmu gitu. Karena aku rasa Ria kan ada this natural skincare company, tinggalnya di Ubud, Bali. Kayak aku ngeliat through your screen aja, I can see this presence of nature all around you gitu kan. Sunlight, wind, just constant. Gimana peran alam itu dalam hidupmu dan how beneficial was it dalam proses healingmu alam itu? I'm interested.
So nature dari ibuku sih, it's a really big part. Karena waktu kecil, like she took us to Australia, kita tinggal di camper van keliling Australia. Terus bukan cuma itu, waktu kita grow up in Bali, kita grow upnya sih, we grew up in the rice fields. There was always nature around us.
Wow.
I grew up really like growing up outside. And then even ke Inggris, dia selalu ngajak aku ke countryside. Dan dia ngajarin aku tentang the different herbs, ini buah bisa dimakan, dan kalau ini cara mengetahui apakah yang bisa dimakan dan apa nggak bisa dimakan, inilah she would teach me. Atau ini herbs ini bagus kalau kita kena sakit apa, she would always teach me.
Yeah.
Tapi what I feel kalau aku di nature itu is there is something bigger than us,
Yeah.
We are just a small part of this big universe. And then kalau aku ada di nature, aku bisa merasa kalau aku adalah kecil and my problems are small versus the whole universe. And also feel peace, merasa damai kalau ada di nature. Gives me perspective actually.
Ya, dan aku rasa interesting karena kalau misalnya kita balik lagi to this identity as a misfit gitu kan ya, salah satu masalah yang paling sering dialami oleh misfit itu rasa kesepian and the need for belongingness dan untuk mencari rumah yang will accept them for who they are kind of feeling. Dan aku rasa sebenarnya alam itu bisa jadi salah satu teman atau tempat yang will always be there for you gitu kan. Dan kesepian sendiri itu ada berbagai jenis, mulai dari kesepian secara romantik, kesepian intellectual, friendship, tapi ada juga yang namanya spiritual loneliness, di mana mungkin kamu mencari sesuatu, as you describe tadi, something bigger than you are, dan bahwa alam itu can provide that for you. Like,
and also it's amazing, you look at a flower, like all the details in that one flower. Atau kalau kita melihat pohon, it's semua pohon itu berbeda walaupun mereka jenis yang sama, Yeah, it's quite amazing. Atau like kupu-kupu, pollinating the flowers. This one thing, like a bee, really, it's a huge thing for our ecosystem.
Yeah. Ya, dan aku rasa the ability buat bisa ngelihat itu balik lagi ke salah satu konsep like mindfulness gitu nggak sih? I guess it's always around us, selalu ada di sekeliling kita, tapi nggak semua orang bisa memperhatikan itu atau appreciate that gitu kan, bahwa keterampilan untuk bisa ngelihat itu, dan nggak cuma ngelihat itu tapi to appreciate the complexity of it and appreciate the beauty of it. If we go back to beauty again, itu salah satu juga konsep yang penting banget for our mental health, and it's interesting how nature kayak bisa ngasih itu ke kita gitu sih.
Ya, dan dari aku juga, aku mau add lagi satu, aku like super curious, you know. Ini kok bisa daun ini warnanya pink, atau kenapa bunga ini warna, like why is the bunga this color? Yeah, just the curiosity, atau apa yang manfaat dari buah ini, you know. Aku selalu pengen tahu, and I think that curiosity in nature really feeds me. Yeah, because just knowing and learning, just everything that's outside yourself, you know, like also learning that, because also bumi ini is like really magical, you know, there's so many magic here. You just need to go into the sea, snorkeling, kita bisa melihat spesies-spesies yang sangat berbeda. It's like a different universe.
Ya, dan konsep bahwa tadi kayak universe tuh bisa jadi teman, alam itu bisa jadi teman. Salah satu lagi juga mungkin animal gitu kan ya. Aku lihat Ria sendiri kayak seorang penyayang hewan, animal advocate. Apa sih sebenarnya arti atau kayak makna atau I don't know, peran hewan dalam hidupmu, and why does it play such a big role in your life?
For me, I think dari kecil sih I always loved animal. I don't really know where that came from. Maybe from my mom, because she like I grew up vegetarian, jadi aku nggak makan daging. Dan kita selalu punya hewan, like rescue atau gimana dari kecil. Tapi it really hit me kalau aku melihat kayak orang misalnya buang suatu binatang, I feel really bad in my heart, karena mereka nggak punya voice. Mereka nggak bisa bilang, hey aku sakit, atau hey aku nggak bisa dibuang. They don't have a voice. So for me, I felt it's important to take care of them because they don't have a voice, and also they're helpless. Like I think that, and then also like humans did this to them, you know, some like they need to take responsibility, and I felt like as a whole, as a collective, I need to step up for them and be there for them. So I do rescue a lot of animals, and also kita bisa belajar banyak dari hewan, you know, they're so true to themselves, they're just whatever, they're just gonna be themselves. They will also like love you, they also love you unconditionally, especially like dogs and cats. And they're honest. You know, they don't care what people think.